Welcome. I would like to show you a pranayama exercise and guide you through an exercise that is very beneficial for headaches, migraines, most traumatic brain injury symptoms. This pranayama exercise will help with, such as tinnitus, head pressure, headaches. There's lots of little things, little symptoms that come from having a concussion or having repeated concussions. And this pranayama exercise I've found is good for almost all of them. It helps to relieve my headaches. Sometimes I get migraines, like I'll get a headache throughout the day and it'll last the whole day. And this pranayama exercise provides me with some relief, and it should do the same for you. And I actually wanted to give this exercise to one of my students, someone I consider a student, and so I'm making this video so that it will help more people. So to do this pranayama exercise, you're going to need to use both of your hands, and your face is going to need to be free from glasses or anything like that. Any nose rings are going to try to take them out maybe. And what you're doing with this pranayama exercise, this exercise is called Bhramari Pranayama, spelled B-R-A-H-M-A-R-I. And Bhramari actually means bee, so it's a bee pranayama, you can also call it that. So what you're going to be doing with this pranayama exercise is you're going to be making the sound of a bee. So you're making a very low-level humming noise. And you're going to breathe in, and you're going to be closing all of the gates or all of the holes in your face. So your ears are going to be covered by your thumbs. Your index fingers are going to cover your eyes. Your middle finger is going to cover your nose. And there's just a bone that you're going to be just closing. Should be halfway up your nose. You're going to notice a bone right there. And that's what you're going to want to close. So thumbs on your ears, index fingers on your eyes, just on the divots of your eyes. You don't want to cover your eyeball, but right in the corner of your eye right there. Middle finger on your nose, right where the bone is in the middle of your nose. Then your ring fingers are going to be covering the top of your lips, and your pinky fingers are going to be covering the bottom of your lips to cover your mouth. So if you copied me, we're going to be breathing in while we keep our nose open. So release your middle fingers. Take a deep breath in. And when you breathe out, you're going to be closing all of the holes in your face. You're closing your mouth, your nose, your eyes, and your ears. And what you're essentially doing when you close all of the gates or all of the holes in your face is you're stopping the air from moving out of your nose, out of your mouth, out of your ears. You're stopping the air from moving quickly. So it creates vibrations. And it feels very good. It relieves a lot of the pressure on your temples, a lot of the pressure on the sides of your heads, a lot of the pressure that can be on the occipital lobe or the back of your head. That big bone in the back of your skull, that's called your occipital lobe. So for people who experience traumatic brain injuries, there can often be pressure built up there. And on the sides of your head and the front of your head, where your frontal lobe would be. So this pranayama exercise is great for vibrating the whole face and maybe not restoring the function of your face, but it gives you relief, at least for 10 minutes or whatever, you know. So then you can lower your eyebrows, you can lower your face, and doing that will help. It'll help you to cope with the symptoms of a traumatic brain injury, right? And often when we're dealing with something that maybe could be considered degenerative. So degenerative means it's a downhill battle. As you age, it may get a little bit worse, and that's kind of what a brain injury is, you know. As we age, our brains are injured just because of the fact that we're getting older. So when you couple that with already having an injury to the brain, right, you get things like dementia, you get Alzheimer's. It can be detrimental to your functioning as a normal human being, whatever that is. Right? I shouldn't say normal, but a functioning human being. You know, we all want to be able to take care of ourselves. And when the brain gets injured, and when you have to overcome that, it's another obstacle to you being able to take care of yourself. So that's why I'm giving people these tools, because that's what they've helped me to do. So I'll do one more round of Bhramari Pranayama. And I will admit, this is a very weird pranayama exercise. You're not going to find me doing this out in public because it makes noise and people are just going to look at you. Why is that guy got his hands on his face? He's just covering the holes on his face. Don't worry. It's not weird at all, right? So this is a pranayama exercise that you can do at home when you're comfortable, when people aren't going to judge you. I mean, go ahead, do it out in public. I don't really care. I've done it before, but people looked at me like I was crazy, so I kind of back away from that a bit. But I digress. We're gonna practice pranayama. We're gonna practice Bhramari Pranayama again. And if you did the pranayama exercise, you can understand why it's called B, or why it's a B pranayama. Because you make the sound of a B. And something can be said about dolphins and the vibrations that they let go of. And we all, if you have a cat, if you've ever pet a cat before, you know that a cat's purring can calm you down. And I believe it's been scientifically studied. I don't have the article in front of me and I don't remember, but a cat's purring is the same frequency that a cat's purring is a similar frequency to a meditation. So a cat's purring gives you the same relaxation that a brief meditation would. So life is a lot more about frequency and vibration and all this stuff than people actually understand. But anyways, this is really what we're doing with yoga. You know, a lot of Christians say like, oh, yoga summons demons and you're working with demons and stuff, but that's not it. That's not why yoga makes you feel better. Yoga makes you feel better because of the vibrations that it produces in you. And like when you go through trauma, when you have a traumatic brain injury, that shakes you. That shakes your very foundation, so your vibrations are always off. You know, just to give you an example, you know. So we're going to do Bhramari Pranayama one more time, and then I'm going to let you go. So for Bhramari Pranayama, we're taking our thumbs, we're closing our ears, taking our index fingers and closing our eyes, taking our middle fingers, closing our nose, taking our ring fingers and closing the top of our mouth, and our pinky finger and closing the bottom of our mouth. We're breathing in, and when we breathe in, we release the nose, and we close the nose, the mouth, and the ears, and we breathe out. it once more without instructing you. You can do it along with me if you'd like to. I encourage you to. And you can see, because I didn't have to talk and instruct you through that one, I was able to breathe out for a much longer period. So for this pranayama exercise, it's almost like a breath hold. You're blocking your nose and everything, so you're plugging you're closing off your airways basically to a certain degree. They're still open, air can still get out obviously, but because you're doing that, it's an extended breath on the exhale. So your exhale should maybe be twice as long as your inhale. They might be quite similar. Just don't force yourself to hold the exhale or anything. Again, we don't force anything with yoga. We're just allowing this to happen to the body. And by doing that, we get there quicker. We get there with less, preferably no injury or no obstacles, right? So, I encourage you to practice that pranayama exercise. I actually had a low headache before I started this, and it's gone now, so it'll probably come back, but just keep doing this. And in that way, you can kind of get on top of these things that might be holding you back. And when you have a disability, or when you have an injury, or when you have something that's holding you back, in order to get to the next step, it's important to have those breaks and to have that something else to help you cope with it, right? So, if this interests you, reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to help you out and to learn more yoga and to learn specific yoga poses and practices that are going to be beneficial for you and your specific needs. Because despite what some people will say, we are all different people and we all need different styles and kinds of yoga practices to help us. So I hope I helped you learn something. Thank you for joining me. Please check out all of my other content. Namaste.